taking the Grade 1 QE2 presented by Dixiana. And that was actually the first Grade 1 winner for American Pharoah. No surprise, Scott. I can't hear you.
Are you talking? Yeah, I was just going to say, are you speaking right now? We'll get that taken care of. While we do, let's go to WKYT for the latest on the weather.
Happy Sunday, everyone. We are looking at wet conditions out there to start out this race day. Through the afternoon, though, into later on this evening, we should start seeing those rain chances clearing up. So track conditions may be a bit on the sloppy side, but maybe drying up for later on this evening. Temperature-wise, staying mild, staying cloudy with some gusty winds coming in. Temperatures around the mid-60s. Have a great race and enjoy this Sunday.
We're still working on it, folks. We'll get there, I promise you, as far as the background noise. But, yeah, damp afternoon expected here in central Kentucky.
The leaves are falling. The paddock needs to look good,
Fair
Scott.
enough, yeah, fair enough. It is. They've done well. They've done a good job with it. Let's go to the entire card picks presented by TVG this afternoon. 9-race card for you on this Sunday. Let's take a glance at what we've got teed up for you here today. And there they are. We've got commonality in race 2. That's it. Race 2. That's it.
We really haven't been matching up lately. We've kind of been all over the map. Did you have an okay day yesterday?
I think I did, yeah.
Was Nashville your only winner at like 1 to 9?
No, I had another winner at 7 to 2. The 5 in one of the races. I can't think of it right now.
Right.
I'm focused on today. Yesterday is yesterday. Today is today, Gabby. That's the handicapper mentality that you have to have. Let's go into social media. Give us a follow on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. And don't forget, go ahead and download that Watch TVG app on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. That's the best way to watch both networks. And we've got a lot going on for you as far as the social media is concerned. Also, don't forget to download the Keeneland app on your smartphone or tablet as well. That is the best way to find all of those picks and write-ups on each and every race. I think we've got it. Yeah, I can hear you now. All right, race number 8, our featured event. Let's dive into it. Race 8 is a turf sprint. 5.5 furlongs is the distance. Part of the late pick 4. Mentality is a scratch. Headland a scratch, as well as 1,000 Reasons. The morning line favorite. Now it's divided between JoJo Air and a bit of both here at 4 to 1 in this spot. In this spot, I am going to go to the number 3 horse. That is JoJo Air for Wesley Ward, coming off of those stakes attempts in the last few. This horse was a winner of the Daisy Cutter at Del Mar back in late July, and Wesley has gone over to Del Mar and won this race a couple of times now. You can see where she's sitting, a good position just off the pace, and she'll get this victory by a neck in the end as one of the shorter price favorites in there. She beats Lighthouse, who comes out of that race and wins next time out. Tomlin was third in there. Tomlin scratched out of a race just yesterday to focus in on this one, or just on Friday, rather. So JoJo Air, to me, is the one to beat. She'll make her second start at Keeneland for trainer Wesley Ward. Then go to the number 4 horse, Escapade, for Jonathan Thomas. She's done nothing but face stakes company in her last 5 starts, so gets a bit of a relief here today. Even though she's taking on stakes quality horses, I think that she'll put together a strong effort here in the featured event. And then in the 9 horse, is my third choice, a bit of both for Mike Maker. Florent Giroux gets the opportunity here today. She hasn't seen the grass in a while. She's got speed, but she's run twice on the grass, Gabby, and they've both been good efforts. So expect her to put together a good performance here. That's the number 9 horse, a bit of both. So 3, 4, and 9 in today's featured event.
I definitely want to use a bit of both, especially with the scratch of the 5 in here, because I think she might be the quickest early for trainer Mike Maker. But I did go in a different direction with regard to my top pick, and that's the 6, Dixie and Candyland, for trainer Eddie Canale. She tried the soft turf last time out, going 6.5 furlongs at Kentucky Downs, and that was in the same stakes race against Got Stormy. Well, we saw what Got Stormy did here in the Buffalo Trace Franklin County Stakes. So I would say that she's getting a class relief from her last event, and we'll take you to her race 2 starts back, in which she faced Allowance Company at Ellis Park. And I thought overall this was a really, really solid race for her. She sat off of a fast pace, and she closed to win by a head. The runners in that race, Ain't No Elmers and Hidden Facts, those two fillies would come back to win their subsequent start. So, I think this is a filly that's now starting to get good right now, and she comes back to a traditional turf sprint distance. I'll use her for Eddie Keneally, who's really, if you look at the stats all across the board, he's really good with his turf sprinters. So I'll take a shot with her, but I respect the 3 JoJo Air. I think that she's the class of the race, and then I respect the speed of the 9, a bit of both.
Well, let's find out more from Eddie Keneally, thanks to Tom Leach.
Dixie in Candyland goes for Eddie Keneally in the allowance feature. Tell me about the last race down at Kentucky Downs.
She ran quite well at Kentucky Downs, a little bit further than what she'd been sprinting. She had had some success earlier in the year at 5.5. That race at Kentucky Downs was 6.5, but she did very well. But the race was loaded. There were some very, very good fillies in there, including the winner, Get Stormy. So we weren't beaten very far at Kentucky Downs, so I thought it was one of her better races.
Tell me about the race before that when she won down at Ellis.
Yeah, she likes Ellis. She's won there twice now, sprinting on the grass. So, yeah, she's a candy ride that's getting better all the time, we believe. And I think this is a good spot for her on the weekend. I think she'll run real well.
Rain in the forecast. If there's give in the ground, does she have a preference one way or the other?
Preference would be firm and no rain, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. Good luck. Eddie Keneally's got Dixie and Candyland in the allowance feature.
That is the featured event, race number 8, part of the late pick 4 as the wind picks up here at Keeneland Racecourse. And so far, so good still as far as the rain is concerned. Let's dive into our key races of the day. And I'm going to go right into the opening race of this card here on Sunday with a $30,000 non-1-2 lifetime event. The 3-horse Wyoming Conquest is where I want to focus my attention in on, and Shipping Port is the morning line favorite at 9-5. But Wyoming Conquest was a winner just 2 starts back at Belterra and followed up with a strong effort at Churchill Downs, finishing second after getting the lead in the last race. Let's go back to Belterra. I wish we had sound full on this one, but we're going to talk over it. This is the maiden win, winning by 4 lengths in the end, running 1:11.4. Followed up with that strong effort at Churchill Downs. You can see her dash away from this group as she made the lead early and just kept on going. I think that her speed will be useful here today. And Wyoming Conquest, a bit of a price here in race number 1. I think that she definitely is a contender, obviously, versus the Gary Sims trainee who is taking the drop down in class off of those Ellis races. We'll see if that's enough for her. She is my 3rd choice in this one. 3-1-4 Fast Cash down on the inside. Claim last time out for 20 in that aggressive spot that she was placed in by Catalano for the West. So 3-1-4 Wyoming Conquest, looking for a price in race number 1 in my first of 2 key races here this afternoon.
I'm going to keep us early in the card for the next key race, and that's going to be race number 3, a 2 other than allowance optional claiming event, 1 mile and a 16th on the main track. We have the likes of Signalman, Haunt. There are a couple of really nice horses in here, but I ultimately do land on the number 2, locally owned for trainer Al Stahl. Now, we'll show you this horse's race 3 starts back. That was at Churchill Downs, going 1 mile and an 1/8, in which this horse did win. He comes out of a poor performance if you look at it on paper. He was 6-1 in that event. He was 6th, beaten over 3 lengths. But I went back and watched his most recent race, Scott, and the post position really hampered his chances in there. He's a horse that needs to be a little bit closer to the pace, as he proved in this race at Churchill Downs. Last time out with that wide post draw, 12 of 12, he had no hope but to take back from off the pace and save ground going into the first turn. So Tyler Gaffleon really had no other option, and he just was left with way too much to do at the top of the stretch. So I'm hoping with this inside draw, a smaller field, he can get back to his winning way. So I do like him. You have to pay attention to Signalman. I picked him 3rd in here, but he's probably the class of the race. If you look at some of the horses he's been competing against, Mr. Money, Tacoma, Code of Honor. So you could argue that he is getting a class relief in this race. I just don't think the pace will come back to him, and that's why I used him 3rd and opted for the 3 Haunt in 2nd, because I do think he's going to be the controlling speed.
I'm going to take us right now to race number 6. Do keep in mind this 6th race does start the late pick 4. We'll talk about the late pick 4 in just a bit. You can see there is a scratch of French Empire. The 1A does go Luna Fortis with Martin Garcia, who swept the late double yesterday, including that grade 1 in the QE2 Challenge Cup stakes. And in this event, I go to the rail. The number 2 horse draws the rail because of the entry. The 2 is a filly by Tapiture for Tom Amos, who hasn't raced in 9 months, but 9 months ago at Fairgrounds, she was very good. We're going to take you back to that effort. This was on December 21st, back in 2019, on an off track. Part of the motivation, certainly for me today, was the expectations that we would get a wet surface. So far, so good. But she's run some decent races and good races on a fast track as well, including breaking her maiden at Churchill on a fast track. She wins by 16 lengths in here. She hasn't raced since. She's got fast workouts. She has to be ready off of this layoff. You've got to think 47-3 back on August 25th. 47-2 on the 18th of September, and recently a maintenance workout in 49 flat. She'll be ready to go. She gets the inside. She's got speed. Tyler Gaffleone's in the saddle. Watch out for Beautiful Trauma in race number 6. The 5 horse Smooth with the Kick, I think, is the main contender versus her off of that 3rd place finish against Stakes Company at Laurel. I truly think those are the best 2 in here, and it's a bit of a stretch to get to the 1A Luna Fortis. She, as a top 3 contender, obviously somebody's going to finish 3rd in this race, Gabby, but Luna Fortis has to step it up to run against these other fillies in this race. 2-5-1A in race number 6, which will begin that late pick 4.
It's funny because our picks aren't that different, but we have a very different opinion in here. Of the favorites, I actually do prefer the number 5, Smooth with a Kick. I think she's the class of the race. Whereas the 2, Beautiful Trauma, you know, I used her 3rd, but Scott, where did her last race come from? She bumped up and got a 91 Beyer speed figure in that race, a 16-length victory, and we hadn't seen anything like that from her prior to that performance. And on top of that, where has she been since December? And she draws the rail. I just think she has a lot to overcome, whereas the 5, Smooth with a Kick, comes out of a very productive race last time out. 3 next out winners, 2 of them were against stakes competition. I respect her more than the 2, but ultimately I go with a price with the 6, Offspring here for trainer Carlo Vaccarezza. This filly's very versatile. She's proven that she can run well on the turf, dirt, wherever she may be. We'll show you her race at the Fairgrounds. This was back in the beginning of the year on January 12th, where she, in fact, won this maiden special weight by 9 lengths. Now, what was she going against? I wouldn't say it was a very tough race at all. It was restricted to Louisiana breds, but she did prove that she can effectively run on the main track. And she just seems like a filly that's been in pretty good form. Her last race at Kentucky Downs, she was part of a very fast pace that seemingly collapsed. So I just think she's run sneaky good races, and I like her tactical speed. The 5, Smooth with a Kick, I don't really think has that in this field. And Beautiful Trauma, I just think might have a tough time off the layoff on the rail. So she was kind of this long shot horse that I just wanted to take a shot with because I wasn't overly crazy about either of the 2 favorites.
That's race number 6. We'll dive into our late pick 4 in just a bit. Maybe it was the leaf blowers, but we are rolling through the show, Gabby. We got to pump the brakes a bit here. We are way
that
in
never
front,
happens.
and normally we're extremely heavy as far as the time is concerned. So let's go into the Clocker report, and race number 6 is where we'll start with the Clocker report with the number 5 horse, Smooth with a Kick. Smooth with a Kick for Jeff Drown and trainer Chad Brown. On the 3rd of October, worked a half a mile in 47-4, looked great in this local drill, has the best track buyer figure at the distance, does Smooth with a Kick. Likely will be the favorite in that race, race number 6. It's the number 5 horse. And then in race number 7, the number 1 horse, 2 Princes for trainer Ian Wilkes, a colt, 2-year-old colt in that wide open event, has 1 race under his belt so far. He worked on the 28th of September in 1 minute and 3. The trainer's second-time starters tend to perform better. Works suggest he will like dirt racing, as he was made to debut at Kentucky Downs in that event back on the 10th of September. So race number 6, the 5, race number 7, the 1 on the Clocker report. You got plenty of time here in the pick 4, so I expect analysis in each and every one of these picks that you have in this late pick 4, Gabby.
All right. I'll walk you through it. I don't want to talk too long because then, we'll probably be running behind. The late pick 4 sequence, $45 is the play. I thought it was very tough because of those 2-year-old races. Those maiden special weight races are impossible, Scott. We've got, high percentage trainers, really nice pedigrees, good work tabs. So I thought race 7 and 9 were the toughest 2 races in the sequence because you really don't have anything to base your opinion on except what's on paper. So we'll try to, chat with some of these trainers earlier in the card and get a better understanding of these competitors. But in the 6th race, that's at 2 other than allowance optional claimer. And I'm just using the 5 and the 6. I left out the 2, beautiful drama, but Smooth with a Kick is probably the class of the race. And if she loses, I think it's to the 6 Offspring for Carla Vaccarezza. The 7th race is that maiden special weight for 2-year-old boys that I was alluding to, 6.5 furlongs on the main track. I'm using 5 horses in there. The 4 High Press, the 5 Cousin Larry, who we actually talked to Larry Jones about this horse several weeks ago at Ellis Park, and it seems like the connections really like him. It was unfortunate that he just caught a really talented Steve Asmussen first-time starter in his debut, but I had to use him. The 7 Tap Gold I think could improve on a wet track if that is the case at this time, at the time of the race. The 8 Divinium, first-time starter for Steve Asmussen, and then the 10 Holy Redeemer is a first-timer for Stanley Huff by Blame, and the mare won first time out. That he's out of and is a half-sister to Social Inclusion, who placed in the Preakness Stakes going against California Chrome back in 2014. So I like the pedigree, Javier Castellano, and the irons for that one. And the 8th race, 3, 6, 9 for me. The 3 JoJo Air, this is the featured event. The 6 Dixie and Candyland, my top selection. And then the 9, A Bit of Both, who comes back to the turf and I think is the speed in there. And then finally in the last race, 3, 6, 11, that's that other 2-year-old maiden special weight. The 3 Pelota I thought was interesting, a 2-year-old son of First Samurai, and it's a first-time starter for Matt Shire, who actually is, this one's owned by 10 Strike Racing. The connections do well with their first-time starters. The 6 Hold Tight for Tom Amos, and then the 11 Sound Money for Chad Brown. If you're playing this ticket with friends and you have a bigger budget than $45, Scott, I would use maybe 2 or 3 other horses in the last leg. Maybe combine the horses that you used along with mine, because those maiden races are tough.
They are. The 2-year-olds, especially right now at this time of the year. If it was April, there would normally be a Wesley Ward horse that you'd be leaning on most likely, or John Hancock. They would be the barns that you would take a look at. And you brought up social inclusion. It's amazing the amount of discussion we've had about social inclusion lately, because he had a runner just the other day that was running at Churchill Downs. He was a horse that they were looking for $16 million for, as we discussed, when he broke his maiden. He was quite the runner and now stands at stud in Pennsylvania. $54 for me. The 2 and the 5 in race number 6. I think that this is pretty straightforward. As I said, in taking a look at this race in my key race analysis, I think that you really have to stretch to get to a 3rd horse in race number 6. In the 7th event, I did leave the 7 off. That would be the other one that I would throw on there, but obviously that's going to make it a lot more money. Tap Gold, the runner for Tim Gleishaw, who put together a solid enough effort. 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. The 4 is my top play in there for high press for your husband, Norm Cassie, out of the mare French Press, who was a first out winner, so bred to win early. That's the motivation to use the number 4 rather, as the top selection in race number 7. In race number 8, 3, 4, and 9, my top 3 plays in there in that tough featured event, that allowance race, which brings together stakes quality company and horses that have been running against stakes types in the last several. And then in race number 9, 6, 9, and 11, my top selection in the 9th race is Sound Money for Chad Brown, a Keeneland graduate from 2018 in the November sale that they bought for $200,000. Gets ready for the debut here today. The number 9 horse is the second choice, Absolute Chaos for Jimmy DeVito. Was bet on debut at Churchill Downs in that turf event. Adds blinkers, gets to dirt. Expect a better performance here today off of being one of the favorites for that race. And then the number 11 horse, or excuse me, the number 6 horse is Hold Tight for Tom Amos, another high-price purchase. And Tom Amos has had some nice runners for this ownership group, BCWT Limited, a colt by Candy Ride, where if it does come up a little bit sloppy later on this afternoon, Candy Rides tend to perform quite well on and off track. So another good late pick 4 sequence. I don't ultimately know what it paid yesterday, Gabby, but whatever it did, it had to be good, because we started with was it a 19-1 winner in that first leg of the late pick 4 yesterday?
And we ended with Brendan's first-time starter, which was, what, like 26-1 or something like that, and that range. It paid well, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another situation where... and
the heavy favorite lost in the Grade 1 QE2 as well, so yeah.
Yeah, I think today's another day where it's justified to invest a good amount of money if you've got the budget in that late pick 4 here this afternoon. All right, time now for our best angles of the day. We do so much discussion of pick 5s and pick 4s, and I think sometimes what gets lost in the shuffle is pick 3s. They roll throughout the course of the day, and you've got opportunities to make a significant amount of money, and that's going to be my approach with the best angle. And starting with race number 3, this is an event that is headlined by locally owned on the morning line. Last seen taking on Aurelius Maximus, who was very good in yesterday's Hagyard Fayette Stakes. But I think the 5-horse Mi Tres Por Ciento for Mike Maker is a speed threat. I think he gets to the lead, and he just keeps on going here this afternoon off of his most recent starts. He's a son of Ocean Terrace. He's making his 44th career start, and he's looking for his 12th career victory. We go back to his race in April, his last victory. This is a ways back, I understand that, but wanted to show you one of his wins and the type of speed that he possesses. He stops the clock in 1:10 flat on this afternoon. He came just off the pace, but it didn't take him long to find himself out on the front end, and once he did, it was game over. He was 31-1 this day. This was his first start in the United States after being shipped up from Chile, and boy, does he look good in this victory and the quick times that he puts together here today. I am going to be aggressive in singling this horse. The pick 3 is a situation where I'm going to use him as a single, and because I've got the single, I'm going to hit the all button in race number 4, and then I'll go 4 deep in that 5th race, 2, 4, 5, and 7. Race number 4 is a 2-year-old maiden race, maiden 50. I can't make heads or tails of it, to be honest with you, because you've got horses dropping, you've got first-time starters. What's going to happen there? You'd love to be able to look at these horses, but that's not the case when you're playing these multi-race exotics. So I'm going to take a swing, and it's not that big of a swing either. If I'm right in race number 3, I've made it a double because I'm hitting the all button in that second leg. So 5 with all, with 2, 4, 5, and 7. That's my best angle of the day here today at Keeneland.
Well, it's funny you mention the 4th race because that's where I take us with my best angle. So maybe you can make a cheaper ticket. Instead of hitting the all button, maybe you can use my top pick in here, which is Bosset Zuccotti. First off the claim for trainer Jason Barkley, which, by the way, I just looked it up while you were speaking. The late pick 4 paid over $4,600 yesterday. The late pick 5 paid over $21,000.
Wow.
So it pays to play, that's for sure.
It's a 50-cent bet, by the way, folks.
Crazy. Anyway, the 6, Bosset Zuccotti, first off the claim for Jason Barkley. This horse's last race, we'll roll the tape. This was at Churchill Downs, and pay attention to the gate break. This horse gets shuffled back. You can see Carlos Hernandez and the irons. He just kind of gets squeezed out of position, unfortunately, early. And then in the middle part of the race, too, he was so far off of the pace, and I just thought he had way too much to do. You see the 2 on the lead. He went gate to wire. That's 2 worlds, and he was the heavy favorite in that race. So I'm thinking with a sharper break today, stretching back out in distance, this horse looks like he would appreciate 2 turns, which he goes today, and the blinkers on, and the fact that Jason Barkley is really good off the claim. I thought everything could really come together for this horse today. So a little bit of a sneaky treble trip last time out. Hopefully better luck out of the gate, and that could put him in the winner's circle. So I do like him best. I also would use the 7 Nip and Tuck for trainer Mike Maker. It's Tyler Gaffalione aboard. This horse could certainly improve on the drop in class with the blinkers on. And then the 4 Birthday Party is a class dropper for Brett Calhoun, who, some trainers, they have really good stats with maiden special weight to maiden claimers, and some not so much. Brett Calhoun definitely has strong stats with this move. So I think maybe if you use those 3, Scott, you would probably be safe and moving forward to the next leg of your pick 3.
All right, fair enough. And then maybe get a little bit more coverage in that first leg, race number 3. Maybe toss the favorite in there just to back yourself up. That being the locally owned, I believe, is the favorite in that race. The number 2 who's running against Aurelius Maximus. So those are our best angles of the afternoon. Tom Leach always swings for the fences, and we appreciate that. He's going to go to race number 6. That's the beginning leg of the late pick 4, and he's looking at a 10-1 shot, the number 6 horse Offspring for Carlo Vaccarezza. This is your top selection, right? All right,
come on, Tom, let's bring this home.
10-1 on the morning line, first time in claiming company, so plays the class dropping game here today in this optional $62,000 race, and 3 wins this year and a sharp local work. Also moves over to the dirt. Last time this horse raced on the dirt, put together some strong efforts. In fact, a win and a second-place finish. So Offspring, Tom Leach's top play in race number 6 at 10-1. Here's another thing. In race number 1, thanks to our good friend Jessica Stith, who is, if we didn't have her, I don't know where we would be, honestly, Gabby, and I say that wholeheartedly.
Me too.
She just sent us a text. Perry Oots, he rides the opener. It's Summer is who he's riding, the number 5 horse. Just yesterday, he moved into number 6 all-time as far as wins, passing the Hall of Famer Chris McCarron. Perry Oots now has 7,142 victories after his win yesterday. And here's another insane stat. He's ridden 51,629 races.
Pay attention to him. Let's add to the tally.
Let's root for Perry Oots in race number 1 on It's Summer. Have a wonderful day today at Keeneland. For Gabby, I'm Scott. We'll see you in a bit.